Awesome. There he is.
There we go.
Yes.
Good.
My man.
What's
Dane
happening?
Carter, what's going on, brother?
Same old, same old. Just another amazing day.
Yeah, man, it is an amazing day. You know, I wanted to talk to you because I see what you're doing. And I'll be honest with you, I just wanted to talk to you because I heard what you were saying on a show. I forgot who it was even with. And I was just like, man, this guy's got a great perspective. And so I really want to talk to you. But then I did research on you after you committed to the show. And I was like, whoa, this guy's going to be on my show? Wow. This guy's a heavy hitter.
Well, dude, I'm here to help, man. Like, it's a huge piece of who I am. So, I mean, like, I do shows from these, 14, 15-year-old kids in these, like, third world countries in the middle of nowhere with 3 followers. And they're like, why are you on my show? And I was like, because I remember when no one would come on my show back in the day when I started. And I was just like, I will never be too cool to be on anybody's anything. My goal in life is to just help people and share value and just kind of share my experiences. And if they help you, great. If not, oh well.
That's so cool, man. Well, I really appreciate it because this is a show that I pretty much just started as a response to the COVID-19, extravaganza. And it's got people really worried to the point where a lot of them are freezing up and they don't know what to do. So I wanted to kind of have a show where I could get people who are actually doing things, and whether it's working or not working, they're actually trying and attempting, just to bring new perspective to people who may be frozen in this time and don't know what to do or feel like it's unsafe to do something. I think you were the one, I watched one of your videos and you said right now is the time to go all in on your marketing strategies. And we want to talk about that. But first, this show is called Coffee with Zach. Are you drinking coffee?
So I get up at 3 in the morning. So I've already had 2 rounds of coffee. I'm ready to rock. I'm good to go. But thank you though. Appreciate
my
it.
Man. Okay, so you and my friend Eddie King, he runs a nonprofit organization. They serve like 200 people a day, and they do this massive event for a toy drive, 5,000 kids. And it's
Nice.
It's a nonprofit of like 5 people who are committed every day. And it's amazing what they've been able to do. But he wakes up at like 3 o'clock in the morning too. Crazy. So I'm glad you do that. You know, they say that's a good time to be up with your creator. So good situation, man. So tell me, what right now are you doing to adapt and to adjust in your business? You know, what's something that, you're just going all in on, like that video you said?
Sure. So for us, it's like we have to be able to communicate like the truth and the facts, right? Because we're bombarded by all this stuff that may or may not be true. So it's super important to be safe when you're out there. The most important thing for me is to be able to keep your like mental state of mind. If you go from a state, right, where everything's great, you're working, you're going to work every day, you're going to the gym, you have your schedule, you go see your friends on Fridays and the weekends, and all of a sudden all of that is pulled from you, like there's going to be a grieving process. And no one's talking about what it feels like to be disconnected from your tribe and the people that you care about. And then you just sit there and we're stuck in front of these phones and TVs and iPads and computer screens that are just dumping us full of like, you're gonna die. Like, it's just, it creates this thing, and then you drop to about somewhere between 7 years old and 13, and everything is just fear. You're afraid of your own shadow. So for me, it was super important to, one, not break my routine. I've done the same thing like for the past 4 years every morning, whether I'm on lockdown or whether I'm not. So it's so important to have a consistent schedule. Yes, it's fun to sit around like in your sweats and PJs for a couple days. Who doesn't like that? But when you don't know what day it is, that's a problem. Like you need to stay in the know. And here's the other part, like it's a muscle. Your brain is a muscle. Your like life and your state of mind and your ego, all of these things are muscles that if you don't use them correctly, they're going to atrophy. So we're busier. Plus, there's such a huge opportunity to be a good person right now.
Right.
Like help your neighbors, help people out. As soon as this thing hit, we were on Nextdoor saying, hey, if you don't want to go pick up your prescriptions, let me know. I'm 43 years old. I'm young. I'm healthy. I'll go pick them up for you. I'll drop them off at your house. Like, food deliveries for our neighbors. We just went bananas of like, how can we help? Because people are freaking out. I wasn't freaking out. I knew this was going to pass. And this was just one of these things where I was like, you know, I'm just going to be safe and be careful. Right. And that's what we did. From a business perspective, this has been one of the greatest opportunities for marketing in recent times. We've never had billions of people at home at the same time. The closest thing is the Super Bowl and then like the World Cup and the Olympics. Outside of that, everybody's home. The whole planet.
Right.
So like, you have everybody's attention for a lot less money than before.
Mm-hmm.
Our Facebook conversions are off the charts.
Yep.
Instagram, YouTube, Google ads, mailers. We triple all of our budgets because everybody's going to be home, so we can provide them value. It's not like, hey, please come buy my dumb shit for $20. It's like, no. Here's what's going on in our community. We're having a sidewalk chalk contest for your kids on this date. And then we're going to take pictures, and then the winner's going to get picked on like a Facebook Live or Instagram Live, and you're going to get like a $50 gift card for food to go for your family from a local restaurant that's struggling right now. So like, we just jumped into the community and started to just help.
That's so amazing, man. I love that. And I talked about the opportunity right now for, I agree with you on conversions. Our conversions are amazing right now. But I think right now is a bigger thing that a lot of people don't really talk about is the brand marketing of who you're telling your people you are in the moment of crisis. You know, in the moment of crisis, you're not jamming down the $20 product, but you're saying, hey, we got this chalk art event to bring the community together. And that shows who you are. And there's going to be some companies that, you know, try to fake it, right? But I know you are who you say you are. Like, you really care about people. And in that moment, as you start to do these activities to show who you are, that it exposes the truth. And the truth comes out. And then your calmness, your coolness, your perspective is the one thing that I'm sure people are really getting value from, because you're calm, you're cool. So I really think that's awesome, man. And I love that I serve a lot. My wife's pregnant right now, so we actually are kind of stepping back. Yes. I'm super excited. It's a boy. I see you with your boys, so I get excited. I can't wait till my boy chokes me out when I'm eating oatmeal. And
dude, it's crazy because what's nuts is one's 4 and one's 6. They've both been in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for almost 2 years, and like, they're going to be able to annihilate me in a few years. And like, I go hard, I train hard, but like, dude, they're going to lap me pretty soon.
Yeah. Look, I've done a lot of training in my time.
Mainly, nice. Good man.
Mainly grappling, but I wrestled in high school and I coached a little bit as well. But yesterday I had a gentleman. His name was Francisco Guzman. He owns ZR Laverne. And so it was cool chatting with him. But yeah, that's awesome. I'm going to get my kids in jiu-jitsu also. So let's talk about business, okay? What does your business look like as far as, your listings, your buyers? Tell me what's going on so we could get perspective of the market if people are watching from real estate.
Sure. So yeah. So as we roll into like the first quarter of this year, it was pistol hot. I mean, it was amazing. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, we're getting 3, 7, 12, every single listing is getting multiple offers. Right. So that part has shrunk, but we're still getting multiple offers per listing if the properties are priced correctly. There's still a ton of buyers. There's still a ton of sellers out there. Some people kind of froze up a little bit, but the market has completely rebounded because of the stock market. This is not a financial crisis because of really bad financial circumstances. Right. This was a health crisis that created a financial crisis. So when the health crisis lifts, we still have a very stable foundation in our economy. There's huge problems that could happen, but from the numbers that we see, I don't see how it could. Here's some super important facts for everybody to know. 38% 38% of all the homes in the US, 38%, which is a pretty huge number with this many people in one country, are free and clear. They own their homes outright. If the market goes down 100%, they're still fine. So here's the other incredible factor for the first time in history, especially from like a real estate perspective. The average home equity, same thing across the board for all of real estate, is $136,000. That's the average, okay? So most people have a $136,000 cushion if the market drops 20 to 30%, which in the last huge crash was 22%, which was the biggest crash in 50 years.
Right.
And that's definitely not going to happen. They'd still not be underwater and have to foreclose and sell. So we have a tremendous, like, solid foundation. When 2007 and 8 hit, there was almost $1 trillion in seconds taken out on homes to buy cars and boats and vacations and lifestyles. Now we have 71 billion, which is still a ton of money, but nowhere near 963 billion as it was back then. Plus, we had a giant pitch of 12, 14, and 16% growth over 3 years, 2006, 7, and 8. This whole cycle, we haven't hit those numbers. So we have a normalized real estate market, which is very healthy. So that part is super, super important. We're still taking listings. There's still a ton of closings going on right now. There's a couple properties on hold, but it's still a good market for sure.
I agree. I agree with that. So I think there was such a lack of inventory and there were so many buyers that you might get 12 offers on a home, but now you're getting 4. I think that's still a good situation, right?
Absolutely.
I'm in loans, so I'm a loan officer, so I do the loan side of it. But I'm like baffled, right? I had one buyer who was super excited to buy. I actually got 2 aggressive buyers right now looking, because in their head, their perspective is, hey, I could get a deal right now. And so they're looking, but they put in an offer on a home, and they were rejected. The award winner of the offer, whoever won the offer, was $20,000 more than asking price. And so you still see that. That's what I'm seeing out here. I'm in Laverne, California, close to like LA. I'm sure you know where that is. The LA County Fair area. But yeah, so that's a great perspective that you said. I love what you mentioned about the equity. I didn't know the stats, Kate. 38% people have free and clear mortgages. That's huge. And then the average home has $136,000 in equity, and that's another huge thing. So they're kind of sitting on cash in their head.
100%. No one's going anywhere. So here's what we're starting to see, though, for the first time, and this has been happening the past probably 3 weeks. We have people coming in with like an FHA offer, literally asking for 3.5 to 4% for closing costs. So we haven't seen that since like 2010, 11. And that's just poor representation by the real estate professional. It's like, oh, let's get this deal. Let's try to buy a house basically for free. You're going to get the seller to pay your 3.5% down. And I'm like, we have 4 offers at list. Why am I going to give you 20 grand for your closing costs? You're out of your mind. So that's just them, like, and they're all going to get frustrated. They might get lucky on somebody, but there's so much equity. And I think somebody like in the feed just asked a question. It is an amazing time to refi. This is the cheapest money has been in our country's history. Like, it is insane. Refi your face off. My top lender right now, he had over 200 refis last month, and he's just like, I can't keep up. Wow. It's always a good time based on your situation to refi to get into a shorter position. But like, there's nothing but upside. As soon as this thing lifts, all these buyers that have been like just kind of sitting there. And what's funny as well is this past week, my Zillow, all my stuff has exploded again because people are like looking at homes because they feel that we're in like the end of this whole thing. And they're going to get back out there. It's going to be a frenzy this summer for the real estate game.
I agree with that. Hey, man, if your preferred lender has 200 and he can't handle them all, you could send me.
I'll send them your way. I will.
But I agree with what you're saying. It's a great time to refinance. Rates are low. there's some unique things that can kind of help you with COVID, but also rates are really good for people who've been prepared. You know, if you've been blowing money and not saving money and your credit sucks, it's not going to be as good as if you've been preparing for the last 2 or 3 years to purchase a home. So I do want to make sure I put that out there, because it's good for some, but not so good for others.
100%, and very well said. And there's 19 million millennials that have been like, you know, like on this stuff and like, I'm going to go get a Lambo. And I'm like, all right, you're an idiot.
Right. Yeah, no, that's, you know, let's talk about that for a second. So I love what this COVID-19 is doing to entrepreneurship. It's squeezing out the fakes, and it's making people who have the blood of entrepreneurship flowing through to actually raise above the noise. You want to talk about that a little bit? What's your perspective on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing with money. You give somebody a ton of money, they're going to show you exactly who they truly are.
Right.
You take away all their money, they're going to show you exactly who they truly are. It's the same thing in business and the same thing in life. There's so many, like, I would say, I mean, probably 9 or 10 years straight, there's all these things of like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur. Like, are you? We'll see. Like, it's hard. It is really, really difficult. And all the posers out there that are spending all this money with this fake stuff, now it's just crickets, because they've, like, a bunch of them have been exposed.
Right.
A true purebred entrepreneur, business person, hustler, when there's something that's really great, they see opportunity. Something that's really bad, they'll see opportunity. We are next level, going bananas on so many different things and directions, because the opportunities are flooding the market right now. There's so much upside, so many sellers that are afraid. There's so many sellers that are doing seller financing, seller carrybacks for big buildings, putting together crazy syndications right now, because people want their money out of the stock market and into a hard asset. Like, I can't keep up with these phone calls of very, very seasoned investors that are saying, Andy, what do I do with my money? And I'm like, well, let's talk about who you are as a person first, and then we can talk about what we should do with your money. Because it's not a one trick, like, you know, pony.
Right.
I tell people all the time, you do not need to invest in certain things in certain different asset classes if that's not who you are as a person. You have to know your risk tolerance. You have to know yourself before you jump in the deep end.
Right. Yeah, no, that's so true. You guys stay in your lane. So I made one of the biggest real estate investments. It's actually my first real estate investment in this crisis. I got involved with the real estate trust. Yeah, I'm super excited. Me and my wife, we've been planning for the last 2 years. And so we partnered up with some people, a mentor of mine. And so are you doing syndications yourself? Do you have you have cash flow properties too? Cool.
Yeah, like, that's my whole world, is we buy multifamily real estate all over the country.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I remember when I was watching a video of you, you mainly were talking about commercial real estate, but I noticed on your website you sell residential real estate, but you like to be in the commercial. You seem like a commercial expert. Can you tell us what's happening in the commercial, a little bit more about what's happening in the commercial market? Do you think that income properties are going up? Are they going down? Are baby boomers trying to unload their commercial properties because they want to be liquid? I'm curious about that market.
Sure. So it's a little different. Like in SoCal, there's a frenzy going on right now because people are just like, look, should I keep it? There's no more depreciation. Should I exchange it? There's no inventory. So I'm just going to sell it, and I'm going to pay the taxes, and I'm going to stuff the money somewhere, and I'm going to wait for a huge opportunity, and then I'm going to deploy it that way. So, like, again, it's very situational. Like, there's huge opportunities in Florida, huge opportunities in Tennessee, Texas, massive opportunities all over the country. It just depends on the business model. So for, like, here in SoCal, it's like, it has to be the perfect storm. It has to be the right deal with, like, the right amount of cash flow potential, with, like, the right amount of appreciation. And then it's totally different if I'm in, like, Cleveland, Ohio, where I don't really care if it goes up or down that much because it's going to happen so slowly. I just want the cash flow. So if I have it for cash flow only and my tenants are now not paying rent, that's bad. So like, it just kind of depends on where you're at, but there's deals everywhere, because every time you have fear, you have uncertainty. If you have uncertainty, people make bad moves. I've had more conversations with like, are you sure you want to do this? Because I want to buy it and you want to sell it. But when this thing turns around, don't get mad at me.
Right.
I'm taking the risk by buying this thing right now, but don't get mad at me when this thing whipsaws and I get a 12% return over the next 24 months and you're pissed.
Right. Right. Yeah, no, that just says a lot about who you are too, you know, and making sure that they made the right decision. But
I put it all in writing. Everything's in contract. Like, I am going to buy this, and then I'm going to sell it for a profit in 2 years.
Right. Do you do listings where you get a seller who wants to sell, and they say, "I will sell it at this price," and you could sell it in between?
Or yeah.
Yeah.
We do a ton of that and have for years. But yeah, it's just not called that in like our world. But yeah, we do.
Oh, what's it called? So I'm working with a direct lender right now, but I'm learning about the real estate side. So I'm getting my real estate license, and they call it net listing on the exam. So
yeah, it's probably called that. It's just not what I call it. I just call it wholesaling. Like, even though it's not like truly wholesaling, but we do that all the time.
Okay, that was going to be my question, because they don't call it wholesaling, so I thought it would have been different. But net listing is the same as wholesaling, right?
It's the same thing in principle.
Right.
But here's the thing with wholesaling: it's got a bad reputation. So net selling is marketing because it's probably sexier than like, hey, so you give me this listing, and then I'm going to tie it up, and then I'm going to go sell it for a profit. Oh, that's called wholesaling. Oh no, it's called net listing.
Right. Okay. I get it. Okay, makes sense. Cool. Right on. So that's always big in California. I used to actually, back in 2008 to 2011. Don't get mad at me, but I did loan modifications. And
hey, everybody was doing it back then. Lots of people.
Yeah. Once I found out it wasn't really happening, I got out of that business real quick. I was young and naive, so. Yeah. So tell me, you got 2 kids, man. I'm about to have a kid. I want to know, what does the day of Andy look like? Like, with your kids, they're 4 and 6, you said, so are they in school yet?
Yeah, in school. So like one's almost 5 and one's almost 7, so they're kind of on like the swing. Yeah, so my like oldest, he's in private school, so he's home and he's got a Zoom call with his teacher, in an hour, and they're doing all that stuff. But my whole life changed when my son was born. I moved my entire office home, and my business partner was like, "What do you mean you're going to work from home?" I'm like, "I'm going to work from home." I'm like, "I do all of our acquisitions. Like, I'm going to do this from the house so I don't miss a beat with my son." And then I also promised that every day I would be home at 3:00. And I had no idea how I was going to pull that off. It was way more important for me to spend this time with my kids when they're young, because they think I'm a superhero. Like, they literally think I'm a superhero. That's only going to last for so long. Right. And like, who cares if I have 30 million less at the end of my life? You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. Like, I want this time with my kids. Right. So for me, I switched my whole world and my whole life. And then my kids get up early in the morning, and they have since they were little babies. So for me, it was 5 to 6 o'clock every morning. But if your kids get up at 5 or 6 o'clock, I have to be up an hour to 2 hours before them to get my whole routine going. So the first thing I do when I wake up, I do a 10-minute meditation. As soon as my brain kicks on, 3:30 in the morning, I do a 10-minute meditation. Then I sit in gratitude for 5 minutes. I set a timer on my phone, and I just sit there and think about what I'm grateful for. That sets my mental state for the day. I don't turn my phone on. I don't go to Facebook or Instagram until it's time to do that stuff, because for me, it's a business tool. And then I work out. And then I make breakfast for my kids. They get up, I play with them, and I'm with them for almost 2 full hours, which is amazing. Wow. The nanny shows up at 7:30. So I have my day, and then it's business time. So for me, it's my mind, my spirit, my heart gets filled up with my kids, and then I physically work out and charge the body. Then I eat some clean food. Then I'm ready for business. Then I'm ready to go hunt, and I'm ready to go attack. But if I don't do that stuff first, I'm no good to myself, my clients, my partners, my investors. So being prepared is so important, especially once you start having kids. They're going to take a tremendous amount of your time. Tremendous amount of time. So like, you either have to fix that and stay in front of it, or I have a lot of friends that are very resentful towards their children, which is not fair to them. They're like, I used to have all this time and you're taking from it. No, you're just a shit dad. And you have shit priorities. Like, my priorities are my children, my family, my business, in that order, and will always be in that order. So like, if you flip that, you're in trouble.
Right.
So for me, man, it's like, it's super, super important to find out what you want to do. And when you are truly living your life from a spot of legacy and leading by example for your kids, dude, your business will explode because you're working for a different why. You're working for a different purpose. Like, it's not just the commas and zeros in the bank. It's like, how am I contributing to my legacy? And that's why this stuff is so important. That's why I have a podcast. That's why I put out so much content, because my great grandkids are going to watch this thing you and I just did.
Right.
That's incredible to me.
It is. It's fascinating, the world that we live in right now, where, you know, everything can be documented, and it was only 10, 20, 25 years ago where it wasn't even possible, not on this level. I think that's a beautiful thing you said, man, because I know there's people that have kids that are real estate agents or mortgage professionals, or maybe they're just entrepreneurs, right? And I know exactly what you're talking about, where they say, oh, life was different when I didn't have kids, and now I got kids and I can't do this, I can't do this. And dude, you said exactly what people needed to hear. Quit being a shit dad. Just wake up earlier.
That's it. Problem solved. Like,
problem solved, man.
Like, you decided to have children. There's a responsibility that comes with that. And now you're a shit dad, and then I get to see your shit kids in the streets. Like, enough. Like, I refuse to raise crappy kids, and my kids know it. Like, and we have a ton of love, and we're strict with our children, but at the same time, like, they're on their own path and their own journey, but it's not that hard. Like my whole day is scheduled, and because of that, I have so much freedom.
Yeah.
Like, I have so much freedom. It's discipline and consistency in your schedule that will give you the freedom you want. And you just have to, like, decide to do it.
That's very true. Just a decision. So you wake up early, man. What time do you go to bed?
So I go to bed between like 8:30 and 9:30. I'm still getting 7, sometimes 8 hours of sleep. It just depends on like what time I go to sleep. But, I take care of myself. I drink a gallon of water every day. I work out. I stretch. I do yoga. I do meditation. I eat clean food. You want to know why? Because I go so hard.
Right.
Like, I have to be able to reset and recover. Like, at night, I start to unwind. I smoke a little bit of weed so I can sleep. Like, and I go to bed. Like, I don't, like, I barely drink. Like, I know what my goals are, and like, going out and partying is not part of that. Like, I was single my whole 20s. I used to own restaurants, partied, been all over the world. Like, I got a lot of stuff out of my system. So for me, it was just like, I like to be home.
Yeah. And you have every reason to like it too. You got 2 amazing kids, and man, an awesome family. And I love what you cultivated and what you created with your discipline, with your priorities and your perspective. I really do, man. It's refreshing to talk to you. I feel blessed, man, to really have this conversation recorded, and I hope that we get to connect again on another level, whether it's doing community service stuff, or maybe doing a deal together, or speaking together. But man, I really appreciate you coming on the show and sharing what you shared, and more importantly than coming on the show, just being an example day in and day out, and saying what needs to be said. So I really appreciate you, man. Andy, you're an amazing person. As we wrap up here, how can we support you? How can people who are watching, how can we support you?
Yeah, so it's super easy for me. So like, we have a podcast. It's called The Dane Carter Show. It's free. It's on all of the platforms. If you guys would just give it a share or give it a listen. We've sat down with tons of celebrities and football players and basketball players and regular Joes and entrepreneurs, and like, that show is super important to me because we put out so much free content that can help a lot of people. If you would just head over to iTunes, like, you know, shoot us a rating, review, share it on Facebook or Instagram or anything like that. Or in reverse, if I can help you, send me a DM on Instagram. I get hundreds and hundreds a day, but believe it or not, I reply to all of them. I literally spend an hour. I spend an hour in the morning and an hour at night replying to DMs every single day. So like, it's important for me that you get your questions answered, because a lot of people don't have like the correct platforms on how to get the right answers from somebody who's not a shyster, who's trying to sell you something. I'm trying to sell you zero. My book is free. It's called 100 Doors. It teaches you all this stuff. Go to my website, download it for free. If you don't want to download it, you can buy it, but you don't have to. All my courses that used to be thousands of dollars, all free. So like, whatever you guys want, it's all out there free. Type my name into like whatever, Google or YouTube. We have a free YouTube channel. We have a show on Roku and Amazon and Apple TV. It's called Real Estate Hunting with Dane Carter. Like, we have more free content out there than I know what to do with. So like, if you have questions, shoot me a call. I'm here to help.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I'm sure people will be hitting you up. And this is a testament of, you do respond to DMs. I reached out to you. You said, hey, I'd love to chat. And now you're on the show. So he really does, you know, respond, and he really cares about helping serving this next generation. So Andy, thank you so much, man, for being on the show. And I really, really appreciate your time. Thanks again, man.
No worries, brother.
If you are a business owner or an entrepreneur, please reach out to me. Find my link in the bio. Schedule a call with me. I want to talk to you. I want to connect with you. I want to know what you're doing to thrive in your business. And this is Coffee with Zach. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you.